Good morning, everybody. This is Maggie Reese.
And I'm John McManamy.
And we're back at the shack once again.
We are back at the shack once again.
Yeah, and today we're not talking about the happiest topic, but it needs to be addressed, right, John?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the good old postpartum psychosis. I don't know what the percentage is out there. Do you know any percentage of what women deal with that?
I don't have the figures. I think
No.
about 4% of the population experiences psychosis at some stage in their lives.
Right.
And it's a break of reality. It doesn't mean you have schizophrenia or a mental illness. It's just that somehow your brain gets overloaded, and the neurons just aren't talking to each other the way they usually, and it's often from stress. And people may experience sensations of hearing hallucinations, voices in their heads, and that can take various forms of severity. You know, sometimes the voices aren't real, but sometimes you may think the voices are real. People can see something, it's like being on an acid trip, I've been told. Sometimes you believe in conspiracies, or you believe paranoia, like the CIA is spying on you. And then people actually can just break with reality entirely. It's like a different world. And when people do that chronically, they call it schizophrenia. Okay, so we're not talking about schizophrenia here, but what happens with postpartum psychosis is after delivery, hormone levels, estrogen and all of that, they go up and down. And we always hear about neurotransmitters with the brain, but the hormones, they don't get the same respect as the neurotransmitters. So the hormones can throw the brain way out. And when women experience childbirth, even women who've never had a mental illness problem in their life, they can go into depression, they can go into a whole variety of conditions, including psychosis.
Right.
And with women who've had bipolar, it's a very high risk factor. I don't know exactly how high, whether it's like, I'm pulling the figure 25% out of the top of my head. So if you've had bipolar, often doctors will say you've got to be stable at the time of birth, otherwise a very high risk of psychosis. So why don't we just take it from there?
Yeah, and I mean, I remember for me going into the birth, I thought I was in a great place, but I did have Allison 3 weeks early, so that was probably traumatic for my body right there.
Oh, and you weren't mentally prepared?
No, not mentally prepared. Like, I was still mowing the lawn and doing massage therapy, even with my big tummy, on my clients, right? I mean, it's just crazy. And then I end up, going through a 20-hour labor that was very difficult, and not being able to deliver. I had to do a C-section, so that's traumatic on the body as well. And then no sleep.
Oh, no sleep. Oh.
So 0 sleep, and this is where I made my biggest mistake right there, was I thought I could breastfeed. And so they're waking me up like every hour and a half for the breastfeeding. And
I didn't even think about that.
And I wish that somebody would have told me, do not breastfeed. Like, I mean, your baby's going to survive with all the things that they have out there, right? The formula and stuff like that.
Right,
I mean, yes, it's a great thing to breastfeed. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to go in on your guys' things about...
But it's even better that you're emotionally stable.
Yeah, let's try to keep your brain.
First things first.
And then all the rest of it will come around. But within 3 days, I was totally into a postpartum psychosis state.
Within 3 days, yeah.
3 days.
Okay,
so
the sleep alone will throw you off.
Yeah, so the sleep, and then we immediately stopped the breastfeeding, and I did get on the Depakote, but I was so far gone that I had to they had me on Depakote and Abilify, Seroquel.
Oh my God. Nothing slowed the brain down.
There was nothing that was slowing the brain down. It was so out of control that they just kept throwing more meds in the mix. And my My psych was even out of town. She's not even in practice anymore, but she was not even available. So I would say if you're going to have a child, you better have a massive map, a plan in place for all the things, all the help you're going to need. And I would not breastfeed, that's for sure. I would not go there.
You had a family, a very supportive family.
I had a supportive family.
That probably saved your life.
Yeah, that did save my life. But
if Matt had been,
he would have left.
If Matt had been like a Silicon Valley executive, he would have been too busy for it. And if you didn't have parents in the vicinity,
died.
Yeah.
Oh, I for sure would have died, or I could have killed my daughter, or I could have killed her and myself.
And that's the dark side of it. There have been women who have killed their kids.
Yes, and people think, how evil are these people? No, they're not evil. They weren't in their right mind. I didn't even know I had a kid. I had no idea that I had a baby. So how crazy is that? I have a baby. Our house was we lived downtown San Diego at the time. Our house was 732 square feet. That's pretty darn small. It takes 15 steps to get from one end to the other. And here, I didn't even know I had a baby in the next room.
Wow.
No clue. I didn't know that Matt was alive. I thought Matt was dead. So my mother was there. I knew my mom was there. That was it.
Okay, so you had a cognition of your mother.
That was the only person that I knew that was living.
And you didn't know why she was in the house?
No, and I didn't know what was going on. I mean, my mother...
I was just about to say that's crazy, but it really is crazy.
Yeah, it was so surreal, and especially when the visions and the voices started happening. I am still terrified to this day of sirens, because every time... we lived near a hospital downtown. Every time a siren went by, it would set off this chain reaction where I thought someone died. And that person usually was Matt, so then Matt would die, and then I would start screaming to my mother.
So you felt in your own mind Matt
was dead.
And that was real to you?
And that was completely real, totally real.
So you freaked out and you went into grief?
Yes, I'm screaming.
And you're doing that every day?
Every day.
Matt's dying every day.
Most of the time in that first 6 weeks, it happened multiple times all day long.
Oh my God.
Because every time a siren, we're only like a few blocks from, when I lived downtown, we're only a few blocks from a hospital.
So I've got to emphasize. Yeah, so I've got to emphasize, to you this is real.
Yes.
So with every cell in your body,
yes,
it's reacting as if Matt had really died, and you're experiencing this several times a day. So that's
the trauma was insane.
So you're experiencing a lifetime of stress in just a compressed period of time, more than most people can take over a whole lifetime. You're experiencing
every day, sometimes 5 times a day.
Because your cells don't know it's fake.
Correct.
They only think it's real. So the chemicals are flowing into your cells.
Yes.
And they're distressing the chemical structure of your cells.
I feel like, John, that damage that was done in that 6 months has done damage for life, like lifetime damage.
I can understand
on the brain. Like
it throws your body out of
total
homeostasis. Okay.
Yeah. It's just too much trauma for one person to take.
Right, and it takes time for the body to adjust to it.
Yeah.
And it leaves lasting damage. Yeah.
Oh, there definitely. My husband has said that has definitely caught. He can see the old Maggie and and the Maggie after the postpartum psychosis.
So and the old Maggie had bipolar.
Yeah, the old Maggie. Yes, I had a massive bad episode at 19, right? And then I was well for 10 years.
Right.
And then at 31, here I have even worse episode than the first bad one, and this one is postpartum psychosis with mania. So it's the perfect storm.
And your first one was
really severe.
Not for wimps.
No, and if you read my book Runaway Mind, you'll see how severe this one was, but this one just takes the cake. It's way worse than the first one. It's like, how could that be?
Yeah.
But I saw an entire ambulance team come into my home, strap Matt to a gurney, and put him into the ambulance with firefighters taking him away. That didn't happen.
It didn't happen, but
in my brain it happened.
In your brain it happened as if it were real.
Correct.
Wow.
And my mother was right there witnessing the whole thing, and I told my mom, the only way I can bring him back to life, obviously this is how out of I take off my clothes and run after the ambulance, then he's gonna come back alive. And my mom said I was stripping my clothes off. I'm in Hillcrest, going out with no clothes on. My mom's coming after me.
Hillcrest is a very urban neighborhood.
Yeah, it's downtown San Diego. I mean, it's just, can you imagine? My neighbors all came out and they were like, there's something majorly wrong, right? I mean, you've seen these things on the news where you're like, why is this naked person running down the road? Well, maybe it's drugs, but sometimes it's mental illness too, and that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
Like I really thought, oh, if I strip all this off, he's gonna come back alive and I'm gonna save him.
Wow, so did your mother drag you back in?
Oh yeah, my mom and the neighbors took me back in.
Oh, well, see, thank God for, this kind of support.
Yeah,
because,
again, definitely. I would have died right there. Somewhere. Somebody would have got me, I don't know.
Yeah, imagine if nobody had dragged you back in and somebody dialed 911.
Yeah, and Allison's she would be by herself as an infant.
So they would have taken her away.
Yes.
I mean, so, if you imagine all the worst possible things that could have happened, which was a very high probability at that stage. And this just took you right out of the blue.
Oh, right out of the blue. And it got to the point too, like I thought when Matt came home to take me to the hospital, we went up to La Jolla to the emergency room because we didn't have a map set up. We didn't have a plan. Like we should have set up a thing where I go to Vista, go to the mental hospital or whatever.
Right.
But we didn't have anything set up because we didn't.
You're not anticipating.
I know. I really thought I got this bipolar thing managed. I've had it 10 years. I'm going to be okay. And I go to the emergency room. It was so bad there that I saw a drinking fountain. I thought if I can stay connected to drinking water, I'll bring back Matt to life there. And here's Matt standing right there next to the drinking fountain saying, Maggie, get off the drinking fountain. Get off the drinking fountain. With the waiting room looking at us going, what the heck is going on?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's so crazy to think someone's dead and they're right next to you.
So what advice do you have for mothers or would-be mothers?
Well, you're going to have to really dig deep and decide, okay, do we get a surrogate? I mean, maybe you want to go that route. Or maybe you adopt.
Okay, now what's a surrogate now?
Like have somebody else have the child for you.
Right.
So you don't have all these hormones jump,
Right.
And maybe you adopt a child. So you go that route. Or if you do have a child, don't do all the stuff I did. Maybe you just set up a lot of things in place so if you do go crazy, you've got it all lined out of all the things that your family can do for you, or a mental hospital that you're going to have to check into, or someone's got to take care of the baby for the first 6 weeks and you need to sleep. You know what I mean?
Right.
You cannot
Now I know
take
a
care
lot
of
of
the baby.
women, we're not doctors here, but I know a lot of women would ask, should I be on my meds while I'm carrying the child?
Yeah, and for me, and I'm just going to speak from personal experience, but I was very paranoid about what it would do to the fetus. So I chose on purpose not to be on any medication during my pregnancy. Now, again, for me, it worked out amazing during that time. I felt the best I had ever felt in my life. Like, I felt like the hormones just made me normal with being pregnant. But then look at the flip side of what happened to me. I don't know if that led to my demise or was it the sleep or the no sleep? I don't know.
Because you were taken by surprise with the no sleep.
Yes.
Nobody told you that they're going to wake you up every hour for the breastfeeding stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
So, looking back.
And no mother gets sleep after, in the process.
I know. And you know what? I mean, I know not everyone's got a ton of money, but if you have a parent or you can hire a night nurse or something like that to take care of the nights, I feel like it's so essential that the mother gets sleep and is not getting up and feeding the baby or changing the diaper or doing any of that during the night. Because if you're not together, you will not be there for your child.
So you really need to plan.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this is plan.
I mean, the responsibility of being a parent is mind-boggling enough already. And you've got this extra worry on top of it, and it's a really major one.
It is a major one.
But you did come through it.
I did come through it.
With the help of family.
With the help of, whoa!
Oh, never mind. Yeah, we'll just carry it.
We'll just keep going.
For the people, our lighting fixture just, blew down in the wind. Okay.
Yes, the dog's gonna get into it.
Right.
But anyways, on that thing too is yeah, if you don't get sleep, obviously that's going to carry you into an episode of some sort. Mine was really bad, but I did come out of it. It took a whole year to get back. And Matt was like a single parent. He did all the diapers. He did all the feeding.
This guy is a hero.
He is a hero. Oh my gosh, if we could have a bunch of Matts out there. But seriously, think about this. He had a full-time job as a PE teacher at a high school. Then after school, he was a field hockey coach for girls. And then from there, he would come home and do all the duties of a mother would. And while he was at work, I could not be trusted by myself home alone. And my parents had worn out after 6 weeks, and Matt's parents, you know, they were there too during that first 6-7 weeks, and they got together and you know, helped us out hire a doula, which is kind of like a glorified nanny. But it's not like our parents are really wealthy, but they just took every dime they had and were like, we have to have somebody there safe for Maggie and Allie, because otherwise I wouldn't be here. There's no way.
Right.
Because I didn't, again, even when the doula was there, and this was after 2 months, a lot of times I didn't know there was a baby there. No idea. So imagine the other women out there that have no support and no systems in place.
Right. And we got to say, you know, psychosis doesn't happen to every bipolar mom.
We're not going to freak everyone else out there.
But you do have to, I think the number off the top of my head is about 25%. That's the risk.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, to any would-be bipolar moms out there, just weigh the risks very carefully, and also weigh the risks, you know, when your child's 9 or 10, you know, are you going to be healthy enough to raise a child? You know, these are the things that responsible people do anyway, and we just have to consider that extra.
True.
And
think about numbers too. Yeah. Like, you know, 1 is hard enough. I know people that have mental illness too, and then they throw a second and a third. I mean, you're setting yourself up for some major issues, because children, when they get bigger, the problems get bigger, right? And the stress gets more. So,
and if there's more kids,
I mean, I would love to have more children, but seriously, when I go to my reality box, I'm like, seriously, I can only do Allie. That's all I can do. I can be good at 1. Now 2, I'm out.
Great. Yeah. So. And we were good with 1.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thanks guys for tuning in, and we'll show you our books as we wrap up here.
Yeah. Oh, I'll plug your book here.
And I'll plug his.
Because this is just a totally awesome book. Now, Maggie's next book is going to be on the psychosis she experienced after childbirth. But another hair-raising mania episode she experienced when she was 19, and how her family came together and bonded and helped her. It's a heartwarming story, and I include part of that in my book here.
Yeah, definitely. And this is not just up and down. Did I say that right? Not
you said, yep.
Yeah.
You read upside down very well. Yeah.
So it's about all the different aspects of bipolar, and then he has personal experiences from different people that he's come across in all of his research out there. So it's an awesome book to read.
So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and get on our email lists.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day. All right. There's that one.
Wow, that was a heavy duty.
That was a heavy duty one. Whoa. I know, right?
Yeah, no, that's